Hello and welcome back to podcast where I talk about going from corporate drone to corporate dropout in the various industries that my businesses live in and share along in the journey of, being a small business owner in the current political climate. And on Tuesday, we talked about how the current political climate is impacting the fitness industry, but today I want to talk about how it's impacting the gaming industry. In a previous episode, I talked about how, tariffs impacted the Switch 2 launch and continue to impact the Switch 2 launch as we have higher prices on things like the peripherals. Luckily, the console itself did not go up in price, and we did eventually get pre-orders. They were as impossible as everyone expected them to be, but the current climate does continue to impact all aspects of gaming, both for streamers and developers. And with that, I will start you with the classic gamer cliche of a crack of a Mountain Dew. Quick fitness tip for gamers who do actually like Mountain Dew. I am not a huge fan of, Mountain Dew Zero or Diet Mountain Dew. I advocate heavily as a fitness coach for the zero versions of sodas if you were a big soda bubbly type person. And if you don't really like bubbly water, because I like certain ones, but they're not usually worth it. This one, the Baja Cabo Citrus Zero, is delicious. And apologies to those just listening. I did show the can of the Mountain Dew Baja Blast Zero. I have long since said that Mountain Dew is the only soda since Dr. Pepper Zero came out. Because before it used to be Dr. Pepper and Mountain Dew that they couldn't get right in zero form. Now I have found one of each. Dr. Pepper Zero is delicious, and this version of Mountain Dew is also delicious. So in classic gamer cliche, I'm going to be drinking my Mountain Dew while recording this podcast. But let's get into it. The gaming industry. I am a streamer. I have lots of business expenses for that side of the business, whereas I don't have as many for fitness. And unfortunately, with the gaming side of the business, I have a lot of physical things that this current political climate is impacting or will impact in the future, right? As we see this administration move, we see a lot of tariff backdowns, and you never really see the impact of some of these things. But if they did take hold, we would see major impacts to the gaming industry, like I talked about in that previous episode where I talked about how, tariffs would impact things like PC buys, graphics cards, RAM, anything that we can't build here and don't build here, which is a majority of tech parts. Console buys, really any future console launches, all of that would be impacted by tariffs from a price perspective, but the gaming industry is already kind of price gouging their way to the top, if you will. So how much of an impact we see on tariffs purely just because their profit margins are insane, especially with companies like Nintendo on consoles, is unknown. Because they didn't raise the prices on the consoles, and that's why. They're already price gouging the shit out of us. Right? We see things like $50 games to $80 games to... Didn't games used to digitally cost like $20? Why are we paying... And I get it, we have to pay developers. Pay developers fairly without price gouging your users. But it's more than just tariffs on hardware that impact the industry. And some people would say that streamers aren't a part of the industry. That's a choice to make that content, to be on Twitch, to be on Kick, to be on whatever platform, YouTube, whatever platform that they are on, that is their choice. That was their choice of career. But at the end of the day, it is likely a lot of these streamers currently that make a decent living off of Twitch came up in an era that it was easy to do those things. And it was easy from an AdSense perspective to, make some decent money between sponsorships and AdSense on YouTube. That does not seem to be the future of the gaming streaming space. The added cost of hardware, right, adds extra business expenses to your business. Therefore, you can't, spend them on mod developers or spend them on funny gimmicks for your videos, or spend them, or you just in general have less to spend on your daily living as a streamer. You will be constantly looking for new revenues of cash if you are currently in the gaming industry. And honestly, if I was someone that lived solely off of my gaming income right now, I would be very worried. I would be upgrading my PC right this moment so that it would last a long time, so that I could probably, hopefully outlast, any major issues of acquiring hardware. But also, I would be looking at ways that are more stable, like YouTube, if I was just a Twitch streamer. right? In an economy that people don't have extra cash, similar to what I talked about in the fitness, being a coach, subscribing to people, despite the fact that ad watching sucks, is a luxury to have even if it is just $5 a month or, 12 if you just want turbo to get rid of ads. That type of thing is an extra expense. And yes, with YouTubers, you make money off of AdSense, but that's not not every video is going to hit. And if you're not already in the million subscribers or, close to over 100,000, I would say, if you're not already kind of in that realm of creator, going full time right now is a pipe dream. At least reliably in a way that you'll be safe if you are the sole income earner and nobody else brings in a dime. That is an impact to streamers. But also, there's a lot of political streamers nowadays and look at the Twitch adpocalypse that happened after TwitchCon. That was a politically driven situation that impacted not just the people that were involved, but every streamer on Twitch. And YouTube's had a similar situation in the past. And, the actions of others are now impacting you as a streamer and gamer. When it comes to just average, consumers, the impact is you're not going to be able to buy the games you want to buy, the consoles you want to buy, because you have no extra free money. It'll take longer to acquire those consoles, and at the rate that tech is improving nowadays, by the time you get to it, the next one will be out. And no, you don't need the next best thing every time it comes out, unless you are a gamer or streamer, because then you kind of you have to keep up with stuff. But it's a business expense at that point, not a personal one. And I see the gaming industry, which has always been a pretty open, we don't really care what people think. There's all sorts of games. There's a game for everybody, realistically speaking, especially if you go down into all the indie developers. I mean, there's literally a rage game about a cat. Literally one of the popular Twitch streamers is in the process of developing a rage game where you play as a cat. So and the game Stray took the internet by storm, and you literally play that entire game as a cat. There is a game for everybody, even crazy cat ladies. So, gaming as a whole, at least in my experience growing up, I've always been a gamer. I've always had some version of a console, some version of a gaming entity, if you will, because at some points it was PC, at some points it was console, at some points it was many consoles. And I've played a variety of things from Nintendo games of Mario Kart and Pokemon to, hardcore gamer games like Bloodborne and Demon Souls. Or the Souls games in general. Why does Demon Souls not sound like the right name? Anyways, not the point. I have played a wide variety of all these different types of games, and I genuinely feel the gaming industry is one of the most accepting industries of different types of people. I see that shift coming, where being accepting of all different types of people and being, even just simply respected. You don't have to have what's the word I'm looking for? Representation. While representation is great and amazing, you don't have to have that in the media to simply respect the people that exist in that space. It is awesome for the people in that space when they see people represented, but you don't have to have any representation in your media to respect and not, look down upon and disown people that are different from you and different from the content of your media. I don't expect Call of Duty to, have pride flags flying everywhere, that's a little bit of a weird example, but you know what I mean. Time and place, right? And people not buying these games also impacts the studios that are making these games and the developers that work there and jobs. So there's a whole, the gaming industry could crumble under, the economy crumbling because no one has the money to spend on these things, especially given, these companies and studios are price gouging the shit out of us. And I don't know if that is, their corporate profits, which is likely what it is, or the fact that, the cost of labor is going up and all these freelancers and developers and things like that you have to pay to make a good game are expensive. It could be a combination of both. Who really knows? I'm not, a CEO of a gaming company. While that would be fun, and it would be fun to be a developer and create my little indie game and things like that, I'm not in that position currently. However, another thing that's floating around Project 2025 dropped, and this is not a fear-mongering thing before you shut off. It is, I read the 900 pages of slop and genuinely did not think that within the confines of a sane society, a large majority of it would even happen. However, that is not proving to be the case. So at this point, where many things from that document have been implemented, good, bad, or otherwise, you could believe that video games is something they are going to come after because they said that in the document. So forgetting the actual livable everyday, running a studio, creating games, selling consoles, economy shit, you also have the administration that blames video games for the violence in this country. And they have said that on the campaign. And a lot of people said gamers who were afraid for some of their favorite games were, fear-mongering and losing it and whatever when we were talking about that before the election. And the reality is there was a new bill introduced, new as of the time of recording this, that would outlaw corn in the U.S. and anything that could be perceived as lewd and accessible by children, I think. I don't know the exact details, but basically an outlaw on corn and anything that could be perceived as such. And violent properties, too, I think might be included in that because of, lewd and... Anyways... People are now talking about GTA 6, the game that never seems to ever be done. And the likelihood that game even comes out now because of this new law, if it were to pass. And, with one side completely controlling that potential, it is a very high likelihood, in my opinion. I'm not political in any way, shape, or form, so don't take that opinion with a grain of salt. That something like that could pass. That would destroy the gaming industry. If it is so vague that it can be interpreted to a video game, you would lose games like Baldur's Gate. You would lose games... I'm trying to think of games that... Assassin's Creed. You would lose games... You would lose half of your major properties, I would assume. I'm trying to think of maybe even... There might be moments in something like Kingdom Hearts, which is Disney and innocent, that could get those games slapped. Call of Duty, gone. Fortnite, gone. All the games we know and love that have this replayable, except for maybe Nintendo. Nintendo might, ironically enough, despite the fact that everyone is complaining about Nintendo right now, Nintendo properties might be the only games that are safe from a ban like this. Or the only studio. I don't know. There's potential that even, abuse an elderly. I don't know. I'm just spitballing on how vague something like that could go. Because I haven't actually read the bill myself. This is just me vague posting, if you will, on what the potential of this could be. But there is clear-cut path to, getting rid of video games when they believe that video games are the reason for all of the gun violence and violence in general in this country. If you truly do believe that, LOL, are video games good for young children? I think that depends on what you define as good. It helps with coordination. It can help with social things. If you're introverted and don't really like to interact in person, but can easily, hang out with friends online. I was one of those kids. It definitely helps with social interaction. I got involved in games that I never would have because, a couple of my friends were in ROTC and I started playing COD because that's what they did. And, it helps with coordination. It helps with reaction times. It helps with scholarships to school. If you get good enough, it really just depends. Some games can even be educational if you want to go with like the mobile route and you can gamify learning and doing it that way, right? We all had like Oregon Trail and we all remember some sort of video game on a computer we had to do in school in our younger ages. So are video games bad? As a gamer, obviously my answer is no. I don't think they create violent culture. And as far as exposure to, violence, that's no different than a PG-13 movie or, younger kids seeing rated R movies when they're not supposed to. That is a parent's choice if they don't want their kids exposed to something like that. But banning things like that from all adults that use video games as their escape from reality when life gets fucking hard, as their stress detox at the end of the week as their social component with friends that are all over the country, as, you know, a way to make some extra cash if you're a streamer or a YouTuber, as their full sole livelihood if you were a full-time streamer or gaming YouTuber. Taking away things like that would destroy the economy further, for sure, but also just destroy the gaming industry would cease to exist in the US. Companies would pull out because they couldn't release games that they already have in production. And at some point, I think consoles would stop being sold here because there's not enough properties. It would be too much of a hassle. And now, this is, again, like I said, this is just me speculating. I'm not saying any of this will happen. I'm not saying this bill that, you know, would outlaw stuff in video games as well, because I'm pretty sure said bill could outlaw a lot of books, too, which goes into, you know, the ethicality of book bans in the terms of our current U.S. Constitution and blah, blah, blah. I'm not in it as a, you know, I'm not a Constitution expert. I don't know what rights any of this infringes upon, if any. I am saying how I see my industry that I, you know, run part of my business out of as a streamer, as a YouTuber, as a gamer in general who just built her $3,000+ PC. The industry is not at as big of a rightward swing. I think enough of the people in the industry fight back against that stuff that I don't foresee the media in games really changing all that much, because people have been making lists of woke and non-woke video game content since the dawn of fucking time. I am not worried about the games themselves changing. I'm worried about access to them changing. And yes, that is a very non-issue thing to worry about unless you are a gaming content creator or a game reviewer, or like your livelihood revolves around gaming in any way, shape, or form. And no, my business isn't solely pivoted on being a gamer, but my stress reliever is my video games. My reality escape is my video games. I picked up a game I haven't played in a long time over the weekend on my couch because it was the first game I had picked up in a long time that had nothing to do with my business. That was that wasn't content I was recording, that I wasn't trying to push through some challenge. It was just fun de-stress on a Sunday night before I went to bed. That's all it was. And I needed it. I needed to pick up a video game after all of the stress I've been through and just escape into the world I was in with that game. I don't get that same feel with TV shows. I don't get that same feel with books. Sometimes I do with books. It really depends on what I'm reading. I don't get the same addictive quality, if you will, with other forms of media, unless the writer is amazing with a book. I do get it with books, but that's not the point. Gaming has been a part of my life since I was a little kid, and I'm worried that this industry that I have not only now put part of my livelihood in, but I have grown up in, appreciated, bonded with one of my parents in, because that was literally the only way I was capable of, you know, talking and communicating with my dad was through video games and computer building and everything that came in the nerdy tech world. That industry might cease to exist in my life. And I can't imagine a world where that happens. And I'm sure a lot of gamers out there are also trying to imagine a world where some of their favorite games no longer exist because this administration tried to take them out. Or any administration, right? This could happen under anybody. We could get extreme content control. I just am looking at the here and now and what may come of bills that are trying to be introduced and passed, and what may come of an executive order, and what may come of the chaos that is already following us everywhere in this country. I am not pro one administration or the other. I am not left or right. Like I said in the last episode, I am pro me and my businesses, and you know, I could dive into the struggles of being a female in the industry, where people comment in the gaming industry, where, again, similar to the fitness industry, people constantly comment on your body, show them tits. And, you know, I was in an acquaintance, I wouldn't say friend because I just know her in the online space, but I was in their stream the other night and someone kept purposely gifting subscriptions to extremely lewd names to try to get them to, you know, say the name on stream. And while, yes, it was probably someone they know and it was a good laugh, this does happen in situations that you don't know the person doing it. And you don't know that it's all in good fun. And it gets weird and it gets creepy because, you know, people don't know how to mind their own damn business. And yes, you as a content creator are putting yourself out into the public space and, you know, people create those parasocial relationships with you, but that doesn't mean you're not human. All of these people that stream have a life outside of when their camera is on. They have jobs potentially, because not all streamers are full-time streamers. They have, you know, spouses and kids that might have to, you know, go review these videos and see the weird, creepy things going on in chat. Because a lot of people have their chat on screen or the notification saying who a sub was gifted to that shows the weird names. And streamers are people too. But that's a whole different topic that I think I will go into when it comes to, you know, being a streamer as part of my business. But the gaming industry, unlike with the fitness industry, I don't see the content shifting based on the shift towards conservatism. And because of that, I see people wanting to cut full studios out, canceling them, banning them. You know, the Tesla bans, look at what happened there, right? And this is going to be a hot take that, you know, people, if you hear this episode, will probably ream me for. I don't agree with the boycotting of Hogwarts Legacy. Yes, J.K. Rowling is arguably a terrible person. The internet seems to say that she is. I never really got involved in all of that. I've seen a few of the tweets. I don't generally care what people who have stupid amounts of money do with their money. Truthfully, wouldn't do those same things. But I also believe in people's autonomy to do anything, and I'm not going to shame them for doing what they believe in. You know, do what you want to do. But I firmly believe in separate the art from the artist. And yes, you can say that saying is only meant for dead people or whatever. But at the end of the day, if we, you know, boycotted every product that was ever made by someone who did horrible things, I don't think we would have much left in the world, truthfully. And there were a lot of devs. That game is a gorgeous game. Hogwarts Legacy is a gorgeous game. And I'm not ashamed to admit at this point in time that I played it and am playing it. That was the game I picked up to escape into a different world entirely. I was playing Hogwarts Legacy. And as a gamer, that is a very controversial take that I played that game. But I don't care. I think the devs did an amazing job. I had it on early release. That's how much I wanted to play that game. I love visiting the Harry Potter Wizarding World sections at Universal Orlando. And they are some of the most well-themed, gorgeous experiences I have ever been a part of. And the game is no different. Punishing the devs, punishing the studio for choosing to work with a massively popular IP that just so happens to also come with J.K. Rowling. Punishing Universal Studios. They're still a business at the end of the day. They're still people. So, like, take the opportunity. I don't agree with boycotting that game just because you don't like J.K. Rowling. I get it. You can do what you want, but I don't agree. Yes, she actively funds some nasty shit, supposedly. But at the end of the day, she created a world that ran my childhood, a world that allowed me to connect with other people in both games and books and, you know, physical world when Wizarding World opened up. I still, to this day, and I wish, Lord help me if the person I went to Wizarding World with ever finds my social media. Because there's very few things from my childhood I regret, but we're cutting out the person I went to opening day and survived 60,000 people at 6 a.m. with as not one of my friends anymore that we bonded over the Harry Potter series. Cutting her out of my life for whatever reason that we argued, genuinely, it's something I'm learning about myself, was probably one of the worst things that I could have done, but you know, my connection to that IP, and a lot of gamers have this. They have a connection to an IP, to a series. It's why Kingdom Hearts is still such a big thing that shaped their lives. And I want to support things that make me happy and that are good, because so much slop is thrown out into the universe that if I like something, I'm going to, you know, support it and enjoy it, regardless of who created it originally. I don't really care, truthfully. If the end product is good, I don't care what the CEO does, truthfully. It's the same thing with, I get a lot of hate when I hate on, like, Elon as an engineer. It's not him as a person. It's not the money he makes. His products are arguably bad. Tesla's, you know, shutting down on people and lighting on fire for going into a puddle and, self-driving features not working, explosions at SpaceX, they're arguably bad. Aside from the fact that he's not a good person. Like, if he had good products and wasn't a good person, then if I needed one of his products, I don't need, a space. I wouldn't work. The company SpaceX is run horribly as well, so I would never work for him because of, but if he ran a good company and it was a good salary and whatever, I probably would work for the man. If that were the case. That is not the case, though. So, that's probably a hot take in the fitness and gaming industry, both. Gaming specifically, saying I played Hogwarts Legacy, I still play it to this day, is a hard one because I'm not anti LGBTQ. I just don't agree. It was the same thing with Chick-fil-A. I understand that, we speak with our dollars and everything else, but at the end of the day, I don't have the energy to boycott things, truthfully. That's a me personal thing. You do you. I think Coke is the only thing, and even then I don't actively boycott them. It's just my husband prefers Pepsi Zero, and it was conveniently he told me that about the time the Coke boycott came out. I won't go out of my way to buy these people's things, right? But the game was already done by the time everyone started boycotting it, and they never gave it a chance. The game is a completely different story that had nothing to do. It's just kind of loosely adjacent, So, and I think a lot of, developers and indie, obviously that one's not like an indie studio by any means, but a lot of people get hit, their projects get hit for one bad review early in the development project, or someone in the line of work doing something bad or being difficult to work with because they've heard something similar about FNAF and working with Scott. A lot of people back out of doing things because he's difficult to work with. Whatever it is, The gaming industry, I don't foresee content changing with politics because it never really has. But I do see, access changing, whether it be them pricing us out on hardware and games, or them the administration just purely getting rid of our access to it as a whole, which again I don't even think is constitutionally possible, but who knows, truthfully. I am more sad about the gaming industry right now, and I don't say that politics is impacting us. Obviously politics impacts everything in your life, but I genuinely wish people would just mind their own damn business. As a streamer, I was afraid. I wanted to make a video on Hogwarts Legacy, but at that point in time I was so afraid to admit that I was still a giant Potterhead. Because I only found out about everything with J.K. Rowling via, random boycott things. I never even saw the tweets. I never followed her. I don't really even get on Twitter. I feel like that's such a socially and I also feel like she's rage baiting people at this point. She knows people hate her and are trying to cancel her big fucking IP, and she does not care. So what is the purpose? If you enjoy the content, you got people covering up tattoos and this is a side tangent from gaming, but Hogwarts Legacy is the one that I can think of because it was after I became a streamer and the game came out, and I was super excited to play it, but I couldn't even play it on stream because I was terrified of hate raids. I was terrified of making a video and getting giant "you are X, Y, and Z" things when I'm not. I was terrified of someone, zooming in on my background and seeing that I've got a bunch of Potter characters right up in the center in my background. And, I'm scared to share, Potter related things when I go to the parks, even though they're some of my favorite areas of the parks, because of people's hate comments. And I don't have that fear anymore. But I did when Hogwarts Legacy came out. And that is a game I was looking forward to and wanted to enjoy that was ruined by political nonsense on the internet. And now I'm picking it up again and enjoying it by myself. I will never make a video out of it just because it's too late. I am just enjoying it now as a game. And I'm sure other games have had similar, vitriol, if you will, against them. It's just none that in the gaming world that I've been associated with other than that one. And I think we should stop doing that as gamers in the industry. Genuinely. I think we should allow people to create what they want to create and not call them homophobes or, you know, transphobic and slurs for simply just enjoying something they wanted to enjoy. Just because they enjoyed a video game doesn't mean they support the views of a loosely connected creator. And that could go for books, that could go for whatever. So at the end of the day, most of these creators have so much fucking money already, it doesn't matter what you do. And that's hard to say, but that's very true. Most of these, you know, studios and authors and whatever that have these giant IPs like Potter, it doesn't matter what you do. It really doesn't. So if you want to enjoy it, enjoy it. If you don't want to, then don't. But don't hate on other people for doing it. It goes back to the mantra I had in the fitness episode of mind your own fucking business. And I get it. Again, I get it as a creator. I'm putting my business out on the internet. But if you don't have any, like, genuinely speaking, why do people need to impulsively leave hate comments? Why? Like, if you don't like it, scroll the fuck on. Why do we have the need to just, you know, hate on everybody? Left, right, or otherwise, right? People have lost family members over this election, and I get it. It's about human, you know, it's about rights and not about politics. But you have to know that, and if your family members are truly horrible people that would actually, you know, support some of the horrible things, fine. But, you know, simply enjoying a video game or enjoying an IP or enjoying, you know, I'm a weirdo that enjoys horror. I enjoy slashers. People don't think I'm gonna go do that shit just because I watch a lot of it. Like, it doesn't make that kind of association is so ridiculous to me. And it happens a lot in the art world, right? You like an artist, you like a musician even that is probably not a good person. And just because you like their art means you apparently agree with them. And I don't agree with that. And that's what I see the most in the gaming industry is, oh, you like this person. Or like people stalking what videos and things people like. The amount of times I've accidentally favored something on TikTok that has favorited, not favored, is ridiculous. I have no idea what half of my favorites look like because I accidentally click the button literally like every 2 seconds when I'm scrolling. And I'm like, I feel like Instagram might be a little bit more difficult to do that with, but still, like, that is a valid argument from people who make that argument when people dig into, like, their social media likes and things. Like, genuinely, the I mindlessly did it thing is very valid, in my opinion, because I accidentally tap that shit all the time. But even if they were just using that as an excuse, do you like the art they create? Yes? Then continue to enjoy it. Let's it is so hard to enjoy things in today's day and age. If you have the time to sit down and enjoy a video game, do it. And the thing is the community that's always been so accepting of different types of people, the gaming community, is starting to get so torn apart. It's you're a PC gamer or you're a console gamer, which is like an argument for the ages, right? Or you're pro LGBTQ or you're not. You bought Hogwarts Legacy, so you should be banned. Or you're a political streamer that's left and a political streamer that's right, and you know they'll always constantly try to get each other banned off the platforms. You say just the wrong thing that got clipped this one time, and fuck, now you're screwed. There are so many, you know, unique pieces to being a gaming content creator. Or, like, you know, you could get banned for showing something in a game sometimes. Usually those can be appealed, but the point being is everything is being so torn apart. You're either, like, even amongst streamers, right? I watch a lot of Super Mario Odyssey content, and there are so many people that are just weird and come in and, like, say I'm watching CJA, which I typically am lurking in that chat, will just come in and be like, Smant's better than you. Like, what? Why do you feel the need to say that? And like, I get it. Most chats on Twitch are like 12 years old, but that's not the point. Don't, like, just lurk if you're gonna say stupid shit like that. Like, it's the same thing with, you know, commenting over what someone's playing. Can you play this game? No, I'm playing this one right in front of you. What? Let people enjoy stuff. Let people enjoy different things outside of what they typically stream. Let people who don't stream just enjoy games and share their love for these games, because I saw a lot of just regular people get absolutely hunted for playing certain games, and I don't get it. The gaming industry is tearing itself apart without, the gaming community is tearing itself apart without the interaction of studios and price gouging and the government. The community is being separated into, all these different little pods of people, cozy gamers, Fortnite gamers. And yes, you find your different communities within the community, sure, but we're still at the end of the day all the gaming community. And being a business owner inside of that community, as like my new persona for gaming is the fit-ish gamer, because I am never going to tell gamers to, live on 600 calories and train all day every day and give up their games. Fit-ish meaning I will probably have a drink here and there on like a drinking stream on stream. But I'm also going to do things like, squat challenges or walk and plays or, fitting fitness into gaming. And I'm debating if I change my Twitch into like the fit-ish gamer thing and change my Twitch name from what it is, but that's a different conversation entirely. I want to feel welcome in the gaming community, and I'm sure a lot of people do as well. Women often get a lot of heat for playing like Call of Duty, and even if they're good, they still get a lot of shit for it. Women streamers say that we have it easier because we have tits. It's a long way to go, and I feel like we're just devolving into chaos as a community to the point that it is understandable to blame games for violence. People actually think that's reality because of how crazy we act in public sometimes. And I get it. We don't touch grass very often. That's a stereotype. It's a joke. Please, good Lord, it is a joke. Anyways, we're a little feral. We're a little feral. You have to be to hyper focus on a video game for 12 plus hours and, speed run it, play the same game over and over again just so that you can get a better time playing it. You have to be a little bit feral to survive in the gaming community, to be honest. We're not normal, and that's okay. Normal is overrated. I don't want everyone to be normal and conform. I just want people to leave people the fuck alone for enjoying things that they enjoy. And that, today's Ladies and Squirms, is kind of my rant. And I know some of it might get me slightly canceled because I admitted to playing Hogwarts Legacy and everything else. But at the end of the day, people are allowed to enjoy things. It doesn't always have to be political. And I think the gaming industry, well, yes, through art and through the games, you can tell a story that might be related to politics. That's not what I'm saying. I think us as a community can leave politics out of it and simply just enjoy things. Who cares who created it? If it's good, let's fuck. I wish games came out blind so that you had no idea who was involved. And then like you got the credits of just like the devs and like the people that actually built the game. Who cares about the IP it's based off of? I don't give a shit. And I wish authors were all blind too, and you didn't know who they were, and they didn't get like celebrity status, so that you didn't know. You couldn't. I wish they all had to write under what's that thing called? Pen names? Aliases? I know aliases is a word for it, but we shouldn't, celebritize these people. And same thing with streamers and things like that. Like they're people at the end of the day. Do you like their content? Do you like their art? Do you like their writing? Whatever it is. That is all that matters, in my opinion. And I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with that. And I'm sure that is controversial to say, but I don't really care anymore. I don't need to be loved by everybody on the left, and I don't need to be loved by everybody on the right. I don't need to be loved by anybody, realistically, but I am a content creator, so if you do enjoy this content, please feel free to hit that subscribe button and come and join to what I consider the common sense crew when it comes to gaming and fitness and business owning. We will not, we'll mind our own fucking business here, and we will enjoy our chaos and fuckery and get through it all together. So thank you for being here, and I appreciate you, and I hope you enjoyed the chaos and hopefully don't cancel me over my fuckery.